Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we are running through 10 shock transfers that could actually happen this summer. Let's get into it. 10. Kai Havertz to Real Madrid. Karim Benzema's seemingly sudden decision to leave Real Madrid for Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia and bring to an end a glittering 14-year career in Spain has brought the club's summer window into even greater focus. Without their talisman at centre-forward and with a number of other attackers also leaving, they can no longer afford to wait a year to see if Kylian Mbappe or Erling Haaland can be tempted to become Benzema's long-term replacement. And while reported top target Harry Kane seems like a logical option, despite his age profile and price tag going against the trend they've set in recent years, the fact Kai Havertz is also on their radar is more confusing. The German has not proved a very effective number 9 at Chelsea, and hasn't played significant minutes in another position over the last 2 years. He was incredibly versatile at Bayer Leverkusen and is only just about to turn 24, but still doesn't seem like a particularly safe bet with a reported €60 million price tag. Previously linked with free agent Roberto Firmino, Real are prioritising forwards who like to drop deep. With chief scout Juni Calafat an admirer of Havertz, it's very possible Real do Chelsea a favour in trimming down their bloated front line. 9. Wilfred Zaha to Atletico Madrid. Tipped for a move away from Crystal Palace for well over half a decade, Wilfred Zaha looks more likely than ever to leave Selhurst Park with his contract up at the end of June. And given his employers were pricing him out of the market with an £80 million valuation as little as 3 years ago, it's not overly surprising to see him run down his deal in order to seek a new adventure. But considering he has attracted interest from Arsenal, PSG and Borussia Dortmund in the past, he may be not as enthused with Atletico Madrid becoming his latest suitors. Sure, they enjoyed an impressive second half of the 22-23 season, with Antoine Griezmann inspiring them to a third-place finish just 1 point behind rivals Real. But we're not sure the 3-5-2 system that Diego Simeone has had success with would suit Zaha. Even if he is fancied as an attacking left wing-back, Yannick Carrasco currently occupies that role and ended the season in excellent form. And while Zaha can also play at centre-forward, it isn't his preferred position. However, his directness is no doubt something Simeone would admire, and the prospect of Champions League football and playing in front of nearly 70,000 at the Metropolitano should be enough to tempt the Ivorian forward. If he's willing to adapt, it could prove a good move. 8. Mickey van der Ven to Liverpool. Liverpool's summer recruitment has got off to a good start, with Alexis McAllister putting pen to paper on a 5-year deal, and a £35 million fee represents a serious bargain. And with Khéphren Thuram and Manu Kone also linked, we expect the Reds to get in at least one more midfielder as they look to rebuild the engine room. But one name that has seemingly come out of the blue is Wolfsburg's Mickey van der Ven. The Dutch centre-half has earned comparisons with David Alaba with his performances in the Bundesliga, but having signed in 2021 from Volendam, then in the Dutch second tier, this was his first top-flight season as a starter. Anfield would be a huge step up for the 22-year-old, and it may come one summer too early. There is no doubt some correlation between these links and Liverpool's new sporting director George Schamadka, who oversaw van der Ven's move to Wolfsburg when he worked for the German outfit. But given how successful that transfer has proven, lining up alongside countryman Virgil van Dijk could be a recipe for future success. 7. David Raya to Aston Villa. Aston Villa have wasted little time at the start of this transfer window. Fresh off the back of a 7th place finish in qualification for the UEFA Conference League playoffs, Unai Emery has immediately set about improving his squad. They came close to signing former Real Madrid winger Marco Asensio before he plumped for PSG, and have been linked to the likes of Dani Ceballos, Arnaud Danjuma and Yuri Tielemans. But Villa aren't stopping there and are supposedly eyeing up Brentford goalkeeper David Raya. The Bees may have secured a replacement in former Freiburg shot-stopper Mark Flecken already, but this would still be a huge surprise. Raya has been heavily linked to Man United, Chelsea and Spurs. His side only finished 2 points below the villains in the table, and Emery can already call on Emi Martinez in goal, whose heroics were crucial to Argentina winning their 3rd World Cup last December. With right back and striking depth needed, would Villa be better placed spending his £40 million asking price elsewhere? We certainly think so. 6. Ilkay Gundogan to Borussia Dortmund. Out of contract this summer, Ilkay Gundogan's future will be resolved in the aftermath of the Champions League final. You can understand why City fans are concerned though. The 32-year-old is in the form of his life right now, contributing 6 goals and 2 assists in 6 games, including braces against Everton and Leeds during the run-in, and another in the FA Cup final. As you'd expect for a man of his quality, he's got options. But having potentially conquered everything English football has to offer by the time he makes this decision, does he want to join a project at Arsenal, and can Barcelona, with their focus on Lionel Messi, afford his wages? That's why the links with former club Borussia Dortmund are so interesting. Mo Dahoud, Jude Bellingham and Raf Guerreiro are all leaving the club this summer, and whilst Edson Alvarez appears likely to join, Terzic needs midfielders. One last dance at a club where he spent 5 seasons, winning a double and establishing himself as a star of the future. We would love to see it. 5. Fred to Fulham. Sky Sports reported this week that Man United are open to the idea of selling a number of fringe players this summer, including Anthony Martial, Scott McTominay and Fred. If Fred was to leave, it would be the biggest surprise. Whilst Eriksen's arrival saw him lose his place in the starting 11, he still featured in 35 league games and 56 matches in all competitions in 21-22. What's more, in terms of attacking output, it was the best season of his career, with the former Shakhtar star finishing with 6 goals and 6 assists to his name. If Mason Mount was to arrive though, and with only 1 year left on his deal, it seems like a sensible time to offload. And luckily for United, Fulham manager Marco Silva is a known admirer, having been spotted chatting to the Brazilian following his side's 2-1 defeat at Old Trafford on the final day. A hard-working, tenacious midfielder who ranks in the top 3% in his position for tackles and interceptions, the prospect of Fred playing alongside defensive behemoth João Palhinha next season is a tantalising one for Whites fans as they look to build on their 10th place finish in 22-23. 4. Declan Rice to Bayern Munich. This one still feels like an outside bet, but Bayern Munich's manager Thomas Tuchel is a huge fan of Declan Rice. It was reported at the end of May that the German had called the England international to sound him out about a potential move to the Allianz Arena, and it could be an enticing option for the Chelsea Academy graduate. Yes, a move to Arsenal would see the devout Londoner stay in the Premier League, but having finished 5 points behind potential treble winners Man City in a season in which Pep Guardiola's side initially struggled to find their best form, Bayern Munich offer a better guarantee of immediate success. With Tuchel reportedly underwhelmed by Goretzka and Kimmich in the middle of the park, Rice would be an excellent addition. But with Lima arriving, Choupo-Moting 34 and the future of Pavard uncertain, it would still be a shock for the Bavarians to pull the trigger on this deal, and for Rice to accept it. 3. Mason Mount to Man United. While it may not be as much of a shock as it was a few months ago, the fact Mason Mount looks set to leave Chelsea is still taking some getting used to, especially when it will likely be to one of their direct Premier League rivals. And the fact it's Man United who are currently frontrunners for his signature rather than Liverpool, who have more recent prestige in the competition and look like an excellent fit for him, or Arsenal, who will almost certainly challenge for the title again next year and offer him the chance to stay in London, is also surprising. Sure, Erik ten Hag's project is exciting, and playing alongside Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes is attractive. But for a player who's just endured the toughest year of his career, stepping into the Old Trafford pressure cooker is brave if there are potentially less stressful destinations on the table. Having said that, there is the promise of him instantly becoming a key player at United, not to mention their history of handing out mega wages. It would certainly be an interesting move, but a homegrown star moving to a rival as they approach their peak is still rarely seen in the Prem. 2. Harry Maguire to Tottenham. Spurs are set for a new era under Ange Postecoglou, with the Australian coach known for exciting football, excellent man management and youth development. However, his total lack of experience in a top 5 league inevitably means that he'll be under pressure from the off, and his first summer transfer window will be crucial, with Harry Kane's future up in the air and significant recruitment needed at goalkeeper and in defence. So it's somewhat surprising that the first major player to be linked to the club since his appointment is Harry Maguire, someone whose stock has fallen significantly among English football fans over the last 2 years. But while his arrival wouldn't excite the fans like Milan Skriniar or Kim Min-jae would, Maguire remains one of the most experienced defenders in the Prem, and despite his drop-off after the 2021 season, is still a cut above Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez and arguably even Clement Lenglet, who could all leave North London this summer. According to The Telegraph's Matt Law, signing Maguire could even be partly motivated by the club's desire to hold on to Kane, who is close with the England defender in the England camp and has recommended Spurs sign him in the past. But do you think this would be a good move for Spurs? Let us know in the comments. 1. Lionel Messi to Inter Miami. With Karim Benzema and potentially N'Golo Kante among others moving to Saudi Arabia this summer, it felt inevitable Lionel Messi would also be heading to the Gulf state after cutting ties with PSG. Heavily linked with Al Hilal and already a tourism ambassador for the nation, it seemed like the logical option financially, with an insane reported wage of €500 million waiting for him on arrival. And while he clearly has more to give at the top level, with only Haaland, Kane and Mbappe beating his 32 goal involvements in Europe's top 5 leagues, his only option of staying in Europe seemed to be a return to Barcelona, whose financial plan to bring him back was approved by La Liga. But as this goes out, news has just broken that Messi has in fact decided to go to the States to join David Beckham's MLS franchise, with Guillaume Balaguer reporting that La Liga's FFP regulations did in fact make a Camp Nou return impossible. Longtime collaborators Adidas as well as Apple, who signed a 10-year deal with MLS this year, have reportedly played a key role in the deal, with the Athletic reporting that Messi may also get the option to purchase a percentage of an MLS side when he leaves as part of the deal. Meanwhile, Tata Martino, who managed him at Barca, is reportedly in talks to become Miami's next manager. A major coup for the MLS. So guys, that's our rundown of 10 shock transfers that could happen this summer, but which ones do you think are most likely and least likely? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to Football Daily, and I'll catch you later.